me this time. The Yamaha FZ8N. Fueling it up for me, getting it nice and ready. I like it. Okay, so Yamaha FZ8 800cc naked bike. It's got plenty of get up and go. It feels smoother than the GSR750 that I just rode before. The throttle feels nice. The GSR had a bit of a wobbly throttle. I mentioned that at the end of my video, but my battery went flat and I missed out on that. So the downside of that was the throttle. Other than that, I really like the Suzuki GSR750. So this one feels really good so far. Feels a bit tighter. Feels solid. I think I like the layout of the speedo and everything a bit better on this too. It's nice and clear, easy to read. On the GSR, the tacho was on the other side of the speedo. Still getting a bit used to the fact that these naked bikes have no windscreen and I'm leaning right over the front of them. While the brakes work, they bloody work. Holy crap. They're very touchy. It's a good thing, I guess, that they work. It's got plenty of grunt. Oh, you can't be doing that. Settle down. The brakes are awesome. It's not a freaking race, you know. I like this bike. It's very responsive, very smooth through the gears. The acceleration is just instant as soon as you start pulling on the throttle, and it brakes like a demon. The braking is quite incredible. I only have to just touch the brake and it starts to stop. There's none of that sponginess that I'm sort of used to in the V-Strom. You know, my V-Strom is a 2008 and this is 2013. Technology is a little different. Beautiful countryside out here. Ivanhoe Dam. I don't feel like I'm sitting quite so much over the front of the bike on this as I did on the GSR either. I had to physically look down, tilt my head down to see the instruments on the GSR, but on this I'm just keeping my head naturally where I'm looking on the road as I normally do when I ride, comfortable position looking ahead, and I just have to tilt my eyes down and I can see how fast I'm going. I can see the tacho. So the only thing the Suzuki GSR750 had that this doesn't have is it tells you what gear you're in on the Suzuki. This doesn't tell you what gear you're in. For those people who like that, well, it doesn't bother me. I'm not used to knowing what gear I'm in, except for just you know, knowing the bike and knowing the sound that it makes, the rev range and everything. I'm not used to looking down and seeing a printout on the screen of what gear I'm in, so that's just a novelty thing for me, having that on the GSR. This bike doesn't have it. It doesn't bother me at all. I like probably the gear ratio in this bike is a lot better than the GSR too. I was quite comfortably cruising along in 5th gear, and then I realised I can go up to 6th. Gravel. Thing about a bike like this compared to my V-Strom, you can just tip it into the corners so much more. It's so much more stable, it turns so much easier. Yeah, I reckon I like this bike. If someone's after a naked bike, and the mid-range naked bikes, yes, I think this is a good one. I'm not sure what the price of it is in Australia here, but if it's the same price as the Suzuki GSR750, or even if it's only a grand more, I'd probably go for this. If it's not too much more expensive. I purposely went through a couple of corners there without changing gears, just to see how it would handle it if you didn't change down, how it would pick up and go at low revs, and it did quite well. It didn't bog down or anything with the low revs being in too high a gear. It responded really well. Here we are going back over the Brisbane River again, I think. See quite a bit of damage down by the river here, where all the floods from earlier in the year. Oh, that's a nice big bump. Yeah, look at all the devastation over to the left here. The floods have just taken everything out. So the official verdict is, I'm happy with this bike. I like it. I like it a lot. If I was going to buy a sports bike, naked bike, anything that was more of a race up the mountain type bike instead of a touring bike, I would go for this. I like it. There's obviously a lot of other bikes in this market that I haven't ridden yet, but I'm really impressed by this. I reckon it's an awesome bike. It feels great, everything about it. There's nothing I don't like. For this style of bike anyway, you know, there's nothing I don't like about this bike for this style of bike. It's a little bit hard to get used to not having a windscreen, just the buffeting of the wind on your chest and everything. I'm just not used to that. But once you got used to it, and if you're just going up and down the mountains anyway instead of being out in the open road, it'd be alright. You know, obviously it's no good for a touring bike doing long distance in the open road. I really like that. The FZ8.